Um, I will begin by chanting a text from Sino-Japanese Buddhist.
Incomincerà col cantare un testo di buddismo sino-giapponese.
For those of you who know neither English nor Chinese nor Japanese,
Quelli di voi che non sanno né l'inglese né il cinese né il giapponese
can listen to the music, which is the most important part.
ascolteranno la musica che è la parte più importante.
It is a text called Highest Perfect Wisdom, Prajna Paramita,
È un testo che si chiama Altissima Perfetta Saggezza,
which is accepted by Tibetan Buddhists, Japanese Zen Buddhists, Mahayana and Hinayana,
che è accettato dai tibetani, dai buddisti
Vietnamiti,
vietnamiti
Zen,
e dai Zen e
Mahayana,
dai Mahayana
Hinayana.
e dai Hinayana.
Makanya haramita shengyo kanji zai bosatsu gojin hanya haramita jishokengo unkai fudo isai kuyaku shari shishiki fu ikoko fu ishiki shiki zoko ze koko zoko ze shiki josogyo shiki yakobo nyoze shari shize shohoku so fusho fumetsu fuku fujo fuzo fugen seikoku chumu shiki mujo syogyo shiki fugen ibizetchin nimu shiki shoko misoko ho fugen kai naishi mui shiki kai mumu myo yaku mumu myujin naishi moroshi yaku moroshi jin mokushu metsu domuchi yaku mutokoi mushu toku bodai tate anyaharamita koshin mukegi mukegi ko mukofu onri sai tendu muso kugyo ne hansanzi shobutsu e hanya haramita kotoko anokotara sanmyako sanbudai kochi hanya haramita zedai jinshu zedai myoshu zemu joshu zemu doshu nojo isai koshin jitsu fuku kositsu hanya haramita shosoku setsu shoatsu yate yate haragyate harasu yate bodhi soaka great prajna paramita highest perfect wisdom sutra or sermon in English. Message 2. Long since the years, letters, songs, mantras, eyes, apartments, bellies kissed, and gray bridges walked across in mist. Now your brother Lafcatios on welfare paid by the state. Now you're in New York beds with big poetic girls and go picket on the street. I clang my finger cymbals in Havana. I lie with teenage boys afraid of the red police. I jack off in Cuban modern bathrooms. I ascend over the blue ocean in a jet plane. The mist hides the black synagogue. I will look for the golem. I will hide under the clock near my hotel. It's intermission time for Tales of Hoffman. Nostalgia for the 19th century rides through my heart like the music of De Moldau. I'm still alone with long black beard and shining eyes, walking through night's dark, smoky tramcar streets, slowly past royal muscular statues on an old stone bridge, over the river again today in Bruegel's wintry city. The snow is white on all the rooftops of Prague. Salute, beloved comrade. I'll send you tears from Moscow. Cafe in Warsaw. Cafe in Warsaw. These specters resting on plastic stools, young specters with leather gloves, flitting through the coffee house 1 hour, specters with scarred faces or little chin beards, specter girls, black stockings, delicate heels, specter boys, blonde hair, combed neat over the skull. These new specters, legs crossed with scarves and Italian shoes, talking intensely, crowded together, late afternoon, smiling over low tables, with the sad soprano of history chanting through the high-fidelity loudspeakers, perspective walls and windows of 18th century streets curving down Nowy Świat, New World Avenue, to the high pedestal column, Sigmund III with his sword upraised, watching over Polish youth 3 centuries. Oh, Polish specters, what have you suffered since Chopin wept into his romantic piano? The rubble of old buildings coming down, gaiety of all-night parties under the air bombs, the first screams of the vanishing ghetto, the last pre-war pink and blue bedroom walls stand open to the demolition workmen's sunny afternoon. Now these specters gather to kiss each other's hands, girls kiss, lip to lip, fine gold watches and red witch hair from Paris, to sit by the yellow wall with a large brown briefcase, to smoke 3 cigarettes with thin black ties and nod heads over a new movie. Oh, specters sitting before the clean new walls of Warsaw, Christ and your bodies be with you for this hour while you're young in post-war heaven stained with the sweat of communism, your loves and your white, smooth cheek skin soft in the glance of each other's eye. Specters, how beautiful your calm, shaven faces, your upswept hair, thin eyebrows, pale lipstick, how beautiful your absent gaze, alone at table or with long eyelashes, how beautiful your patient love together sitting over the art journals, how beautiful your entrance through the blue velvet curtained door, laughing into the overcrowded room, how you wait in your hats, measure the faces, and turn and depart for an hour, or meditate at the bar, waiting for the slow waitress to prepare red-hot tea, minute by minute, standing still as hours ring in the church bells, as years pass and you will remain on New World Avenue. How beautiful you press your lips together, sigh forth smoke from your mouth, rub your hands, or lean together, laughing to notice this wild-haired madman who sits weeping among you, a stranger. Who be kind to? Who be kind to? Be kind to yourself, only one. and perishable of many on the planet, thou art that one that wishes a soft finger tracing the line of feeling from nipple to pubis, one that wishes a tongue to kiss your armpit, a lip to kiss your cheek inside your whiteness thigh. Be kind to yourself, Harry, because unkindness comes when the body explodes. Napalm, cancer, and the deathbed in Vietnam is a strange place to dream of trees leaning over and angry American faces grinning with sleepwalk terror over your last eye. Be kind to yourself, because the bliss of your own kindness will flood the police tomorrow, because the cow weeps in the field and the mouse weeps in the cat hole. Be kind to this place, which is your present habitation, with derrick and radar tower and flower in the ancient brook. Be kind to your neighbor who weeps solid tears on the television sofa. He has no other home and hears nothing but the hard voice of telephones. Click, bzzz, switch channel, and the inspired melodrama disappears, and he's left alone for the night. He disappears in bed. Be kind to your disappearing mother and father gazing out the terrace window as milk truck and hearse turn the corner. Be kind to the politician weeping in the galleries of Whitehall, Kremlin, White House, Louvre, Phoenix City, aged, large-nosed, angry, nervously dialing the bald voice box connected to electrodes underground, converging through wires vaster than a kitten's eye can see, on the mushroom-shaped fear lobe under the ear of the sleeping Dr. Einstein, crawling with worms, crawling with worms, crawling with worms. The hour has come. Sick, dissatisfied, unloved, the bulky foreheads of Captain, Premier, President, Sir, Comrade, Fear. Be kind to the fearful one at your side who's remembering the lamentations of the Bible and the prophecies of the crucified Adam, son of all the porters and char men of Belgravia. Be kind to yourself who weep under the Moscow moon and hide your bliss hairs under raincoat and suede Levi's. For this is a joy to be born, the kindness received through strange eyeglasses on a bus through Kensington, the finger touch of the Londoner on your thumb that borrows light from your cigarette, the smile of morning at Newcastle Central Station when long-haired Tom Blonde husband greets the bearded stranger of telephones, the boom bomb that bounces in the joyful bowels as the Liverpool minstrels of Cavern Sink raise up their joyful voices and guitars in electric Afric, hurrah for Jerusalem. The saints come marching in, twist and shout, and gates of Eden are named in Albion again. Hope sings a black psalm from Nigeria, and a white psalm echoes in Detroit, and re-echoes amplified from Nottingham to Prague, and a Chinese psalm will be heard if we all live our lives out for the next 6 decades. Be kind to the Chinese psalm in the red transistor in your breath. Be kind to Monk Thelonious in the 5-spot who plays lone chord bangs on his vast piano, lost in space on a stool and hearing himself in this nightclub universe. Be kind to the heroes who have lost their names in the newspaper and hear only their own supplication for the peaceful kiss of sex in the giant auditoriums of the planet. Nameless voices crying for kindness in the orchestra, screaming in anguish that bliss come true, and sparrows sing another 100 years to white-haired babes, and poets be fools of their own desires. Oh, Anacreon and angelic Shelley, guide these new nippled generations on spaceships to Mars' next universe. The prayer is to man and girl, the only gods, the only lords of kingdoms of feeling, Christs of their own living ribs. Bicycle chain and machine gun, fear, sneer, and smell, cold logic of the dream bomb have come to Saigon, Johannesburg, Dominica City, Phnom Penh, Pentagon, Paris, and Lhasa. Be kind to the universe of self that trembles and shudders and thrills in 20th century, that opens its eyes and belly and breast chained with flesh to feel the myriad flowers of bliss that I am to thee a dream. A dream. I don't want to be alone. I want to know that I am loved. I want the orgy of our flesh, orgy of all eyes happy, orgy of the soul kissing and blessing its mortal grown body, orgy of tenderness beneath the neck, orgy of kindness to thigh and vagina, desire given with meat, hand, and cock, desire taken with mouth and ass, desire returned to the last sigh. Be kind to the poor soul that cries in a crack of the pavement because he has no body. Prayers to the ghosts and demons, the lack-loves of capitols and congresses who make sadistic noises on the radio, statue destroyers and tank captains, unhappy murderers in Mekong and Stanleyville. For a new kind of man has come to his bliss. To end the Cold War, he has borne against his own kind flesh since the days of the snake. Portland Coliseum. Portland Coliseum. Brown piano, white round spotlight, Leviathan auditorium, ribbed and wired, hanging organs and vox and black battery, a single whistling sound of 10,000 children's larynxes a-singing pierced the ears and flowing up the belly, the bliss of the moment, arrived, apparition, 4 brown jacket and Christ hair boys, Goof Ringo batting the round white drum, Silent George, fluff hair, patient soul of horse, short black-skulled Paul Witt, thin guitar, Lennon the captain, his mouth a triangular smile, all jumped together to end some tearful memory song, ancient 2 years. And the million children of the 1,000 worlds bounce in their seats, bash each other's sides, press their legs together nervous to the move of the black knees of the musicians, scream again and clap hand, become one animal in the New World auditorium, hands waving myriad snakes of thought screech beyond hearing, while a line of police with folded arms stands sentry to contain the red-sweatered ecstasy that rises upward to the wired roof. First party at Ken Kesey's with Hell's Angels. Ken Kesey is an American novelist who entered jail in San Francisco a week and a half ago. This poem is a description of a party at Ken Kesey's house with an American fascist group called the Hell's Angels. However, his method of communication with them, not anger, what he did was give them all LSD. Thereby there was a transformation, so that at the next peace march in Berkeley, the next manifestation of peaceableness in San Francisco, came adorned with flowers, holding hands with communist homosexuals, kissing the feet of sadomasochistic capitalists. They also had become peaceable communists, like everybody else. Communalists. This is a description, then, of the first party at Ken Kesey's house with the Hells Angels. Cool black night through the redwoods, Cars parked outside in the shade behind the gate, stars dim above the ravine, a fire burning by the side porch, and a few tired souls hunched over in black leather jackets. In the huge wooden house, a yellow chandelier at 3 a.m., and the blast of loudspeakers, hi-fi, Rolling Stones, Ray Charles, Beatles, Jumping Joe, Jackson, and 20 youths dancing to the vibration through the floor. A little marijuana in the bathroom, girls in scarlet tights, one muscular, smooth-skinned man sweating, dancing for hours, beer cans bent, littering the yard, a hanged man sculpture dangling from a high creek branch, children sleeping softly in their bedroom bunks, and 4 police cars parked outside the painted gate, red lights revolving in the leaves. Uptown, New York. Yellow Budweiser signs over oaken bars. "I seen everything," said the bartender, changing $10, as I stared at him amiably, eyes through an obvious Adamic beard. With Montana musicians, homeless in New York, teenage curly hair themselves. So we sat at the antique booth and gossiped. Madame Grady's literary salon, a curious value in New York. "If I had my way, I'd cut off your hair and send you to Vietnam." "Bless you, then," I replied to the hatted, thin citizen leaving from bar to door upon wet, dark Amsterdam Avenue decades later. "If I couldn't do that, I'd cut your throat," he snarled. "Farewell, and bless you, sir," I added as he went to his fate in the rain, a dapper Irishman. To the body, enthroned in plastic, shrouded in wool, crowned by diamonds, transported in aluminum airplanes, shoed in synthetic rubber, fed by asparagus, ear-lulled by electric mantra rock, chemical roses acrid in the nose, observant of large nostriled air factories, every crack of the skin kissed by beloved grandmothers, adored by all animals, so man, woman, child, our tender meat become consciously genital with a shudder and blush of substance, adorned with hair at crotch and brain, beard on lion, and youth by fireside. Last poem written yesterday, and there's no translation. The title would be Small Spoleto Mantra.
Questa è una poesia che ha scritto ieri, quindi manca una traduzione in italiano. E il titolo sarebbe Piccolo Mantra di Spoleto.
Since poetry's made of language, let's make language move, run, jump, clap, up, crash, bang, over the wall, stone roads, zap, zoom, roar, away, over, terrific, gone, bam, rat, bong, yep, Shazam, boo, boffo, orchards, cock-a-doodle-doo, trees, hurrah, dogs, bark, 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 farms, cats, meow, wow, bark, slam into it, cows, motorcycle, grazoom, sabacadabra, svaha, pet, 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 om, svaha.
Side 2. This poem is called Man, and it's a prologue to what was to be a long, long poem. It's not very long. The good scope of him is history, old and ironic, not modern history, unfulfilled and blurred. Bleak, damp, fierce, thunderous lightning days, poor caveman, so scared of the outside, so afeared of its power and beauty, created a limit and called that limit God. Cell, fish, ape man, Adam, how was the first man born, and why has he ceased being born that way? Air his fuel, will his engine, legs his wheel, eyes the steer, ears the alert. He could not fly, but now he does. The nails, hair, teeth, bones, blood, all in communion with the flesh. The heart that feels all things in life, and lastly feels in death. The hands and looks and action are masterful. The eyes, the penis is a magic wand, and the womb greater than spring. I don't know if he be Adam's heir, or kin to ape. No man knows. What a good driving mystery. I can imagine a soul, and the soul leaving the body feeding death, and death simply a hygiene. I can wonder the world, the factory of the soul putting on a body like a workman's coveralls, building, unbuilding, rebuilding. But that man can think soul is the great, strange, wonderful thing. So in the beginning was the Word, man has spoken. The Jews, the Greeks, the Romans, chaos groping behind. Exalted dignity sings, the blind angel Cythera twang no chain reaction that world war be the Trojan War. Not with the goddess Eris denied a wedding seat. No praise of man in my war. Wars have lost their legendariness. So the Bible sings man in all his glory. Great Jew, man is hard stem of you. Was you first spoke love, O noble survivor? The Greeks are gone, the Romans are gone, and the Egyptians have all but vanished. Your testament yet holds. The fall of man stands a lie before Beethoven and a truth before Hitler. Man is the victory of life, and perhaps I might feel Christ be the victory of man. King of the universe is man, creator of gods. He knows no thing other than himself, and he knows himself the best he can. He exists as a being of nature and sustains all things in being. His dream can go beyond existence. Greater the rose, the simple bee doesn't think so. When man sings, birds humble into piety. What history can the whale empire sing? What genius ant dare break away from anthood as man can from manhood? So King Agamemnon, Homer, but mortal infliction. I think of Polyphemus bellowing his lowly woe, seated high on a cliff, sun-tight legs dangling into the sea, his fumbling hands grappling his burnt eye. And I think he'll remain like that because it's impossible for him to die. Ulysses is dead. By now he's dead. And how wise was he who blinded a thing of immortality? Reflection in the Green Arena. Where marble stood and fell into an eternal landscape, I stand ephemeral. Anchored to a long season and a quick life, I am not wearied, nor feel the absence of former things, my relation to my country, the weak dreams, their weaker success, the reactions to death and lovelessness. And oh, and now I know, having had enough of her, how women suffer. And that hate which men bash against men suffers less and is with end. But a woman's loss, endless. Hope seems an evacuated place, an insufferable riot's mess. But to see a child comb his face, is this hopelessness? Then a postage stamp is. and those challenges encountered unexpectedly, if to hesitate or stay, or if to run or walk away, the heart is unable to tell the heart. This is for Mr. Minotti.
Yes.
Written when I found out that his was an unmarked grave. Not yours, but another composer's. Children, children, don't you know, Mozart has nowhere to go. This is so. Though graves be many, he hasn't any.
Very early.
Phaistos is a village with 25 families, is the title of the poem. Phaistos is in Crete, the other end of Heraklion. So, but just 25 families living there. So Phaistos is a village with 25 families and one taverna. There my friend and I sat, drinking with the tallest Greek in the world. And though he must have been close to 60, his face and body seemed those of a strong young prince. We could not speak each other's language, but drink after drink, we talked about everything. And I learned by my little German, and my companion's little Greek, and the others their little French and English. He shot 20 German officers, but he wouldn't shoot a soldier. He says they were young and good. But now that the war is over and no more officers, he's unhappy. He's unhappy because the village has forgotten his heroics. His sigh, which seemed to say, those were the good old days. Having drunk so much, I had to go to the toilet. So did my friend and almost all the others, but there was no toilet. Thus out into the pitch dark we staggered. Behind the taverna we went, where beneath the starriest sky I ever did see, we all did wondrously pee.
Lawrence Ferlinghetti, 4 poems from A Coney Island of the Mind. Number 1. In Goya's greatest scenes, we seem to see the people of the world exactly at the moment when they first attain the title of suffering humanity. They rise upon the page in a veritable rage of adversity, heaped up, groaning with babies and bayonets under cement skies, in an abstract landscape of blasted trees, bent statues, bats' wings and beaks, slippery gibbets, cadavers and carnivorous cocks, and all the final hollering monsters of the imagination of disaster. They are so bloody real, it is as if they really still existed. And they do. Only the landscape is changed. They still are ranged along the roads, plagued by legionnaires, false windmills, and demented roosters. They are the same people, only further from home, on freeways 50 lanes wide, on a concrete continent spaced with bland billboards illustrating imbecile illusions of happiness. The scene shows fewer tumbrils, but more maimed citizens in painted cars, and they have strange license plates and engines that devour America. Number 2. Sailing through the straits of Deimos, we saw symbolic birds shrieking over us, while eager eagles hovered and elephants in bathtubs floated past us out to sea, strumming bent mandolins and bailing for Old Glory with their ears, while patriotic maidens wearing paper poppies and eating bonbons ran along the shores wailing after us. And while we lashed ourselves to masts and stopped our ears with chewing gum, Dying donkeys on high hills sang low songs, and gay cows flew away, chanting Athenian anthems as their pods turned to tulips. And helicopters from Helios flew over us, dropping free railway tickets from Los Angeles to heaven, and promising free elections. So that we set up mast and sail on that swart ship once more, and so set forth once more, forth upon the gobbly sea, loaded with liberated Vestal virgins and discus throwers greeting Walden. But shortly after reaching the strange suburban shores of that great American demi-democracy, looked at each other with a mild surprise, silent upon a peak in Darien. Number 3. The poet's eye, obscenely seeing, sees the surface of the round world with its drunk rooftops and wooden oiseaux on clotheslines, and its clay males and females with hot legs and rosebud breasts in rollaway beds, and its trees full of mysteries, and its Sunday parks and speechless statues, and its America with its ghost towns and empty Ellis Islands, and its surrealist landscape of mindless prairies, supermarket suburbs, steam-heated cemeteries, cinerama holy days, and protesting cathedrals. A kiss-proof world of plastic toilet seats, Tampax and taxis, drugged store cowboys and Las Vegas virgins, disowned Indians and cinemad matrons, un-Roman senators, and conscientious non-objectors, and all the other fatal, shorn-up fragments of the immigrant's dream come too true and mislaid among the sunbathers. Number 29. And that's the way it always is. And that's the way it always ends. And the fire and the rose are one. And always the same scene and always the same subject right from the beginning, like in the Bible, or The Sun Also Rises, which begins, Robert Cohn was middleweight boxing champion of his class, but later we lost our balls. And there we go again. There we are again. There's the same old theme and scene again, with all the citizens and all the characters all working up to it right from the first, and it looks like all they ever think of is doing it, and it doesn't matter much with whom half the time, but the other half it matters more than anything. Oh, the sweet love fevers, yes. And there's always complications, like maybe she has no eyes for him, or him no eyes for her, or her no eyes for her, or him no eyes for him, or something or other stands in the way, like his mother or her father, or someone like that. But they go right on trying to get it all the time, like in Shakespeare or The Wasteland, or Proust remembering his things, or wherever. And there they all are, struggling toward each other or after each other, like those marble maidens on that Grecian urn, or on any market street or merry-go-round, around and around they go, all hunting love at half the hungry time, not even knowing just what is really eating them, like Robin walking in her nightwood streets. Although it isn't quite as simple as all that, as if all she really needed was a good 5-cent cigar. Oh no, will not recognize the hunting poise, and then the hawks that hover where the heart is hid, and the hungry horses crying, and the stone angels, and heaven and hell, and Yerma with her blind breasts under her dress, and then Christopher Columbus sailing off in search, and Rudolph Valentino, and Juliet, and Romeo, and John Barrymore, and Anne Olivia, and A.B.'s Irish Rose, and so good night, sweet prince, all over again, with with everyone and everybody laughing and crying along wherever night and day, winter and summer, spring and tomorrow, like Anna Karenina lost in the snow, and the cry of hunters in a great wood, and the soldiers coming, and Freud and Ulysses always on their hungry travels after the same hot grail, like King Arthur and his nighttime knights, and everybody wondering where and how it will all end, like in the movies or in some night maze novel. Yes, as in a night maze. Yes, I said, yes, I will. And he called me his Andalusian rose. And I said, yes. My heart was going like mad. And that's the way Ulysses ends, as everything always ends, when that hunting cock of flesh at last cries out and has his glory moment, God, and then comes tumbling down the sound of axes in the wood and the trees falling, and down it goes, the sweet cock's sword so wilting in the fair flesh fields, away alone at last, and loved and lost and found, upon a river bank, along a river run, right where it all began, and so begins again. Pound at Spoleto, summer 1965. At noon that day, I walked into a loge in the Teatro Maliso, the lovely Renaissance salle where the poetry readings and the chamber music concerts were held every day of the Spoleto Festival, and suddenly saw Ezra Pound for the first time, sitting still as a Mandarin statue in a box at the back of the theater, one tier up from the stalls. It was a shock. I didn't recognize him in the first instance, seeing only a striking old man in a curious pose, thin, long-haired, aquiline at 80, head tilted strangely to one side, lost in some permanent abstraction. Thus he sat throughout the noon concert, never shifting his pose, eyes nowhere. At 5 p.m., I went back to the box, where I could see Pound again across from me. After 3 younger poets on stage, he was scheduled to read from his box, and there he sat with an old friend who held his papers, waiting, in the same pose as at noon, as if he had been there all afternoon. His head now bent, he regarded the knuckles of his hands, moving them a very little, expressionless. Otherwise, he remained fixed. Only once, when everyone else in the full theater was applauding someone on stage, did he rouse himself to clap without looking up, mechanically, as if stimulated by sound in a void. Pavlov. After almost an hour, his turn came, or after a life. Everyone in the hall rose, turned, and looked back and up at Pound in his booth, applauding. The applause was prolonged, and Pound tried to rise from his armchair. A microphone was partly in the way. He grasped the arms of the chair with his bony hands and tried to rise. He could not, and he tried again and could not. His old friend did not try to help him. Finally, she put a poem in his hand, and after at least a minute, his voice came out. First, the jaw moved, and then the voice came out, inaudible. A young Italian pulled a stand-up mic up close to Pound's face and held it there, and the voice came over, frail but stubborn, higher than I had expected, a thin, soft monotone. The hall had gone silent at a stroke. The voice knocked me down, so soft, so thin, so frail, so stubborn still. I put my head on my arms on the velvet sill of the box. I was surprised to see a single tear drop on my knee. The thin, indomitable voice went on. Come to this. I went blind from the box, through the back door of it, into the empty upper corridor of the theater, where they still sat turned to him, went down and out into the sunlight, weeping. Up above the town, by the ancient aqueduct, the chestnut trees were still in bloom. Mute birds flew in the valley below, far off. The sun shone on the chestnut trees, and the leaves turned in the sun, and turned, and turned, and turned, and would continue turning. His voice went on and on through the leaves.